Welcome to Progress in San Diego, Ordinary People Doing Extraordinary Things. I'm your host, Walter Davis, and with me this evening I have one of my great friends, uh, Chad McKinney of Aware Recycling. And welcome back, Chad.
Thank you, Walter. Appreciate it.
It's been a long time. You had your own show here on Public Access and Truth to Power,
Yeah,
and we've done a lot of work over the past couple of years.
definitely, man. Really had a chance to grow. Like you were the inspiration for even getting the show to begin with. Not to mention you had like probably helped five or six of other of us get shows and producer license and everything. I remember something you really said to me that stuck out because I was real nervous before the last time you'd have me up here, kind of last minute, and like it was. You told me, I was like, what do you want me to say? What should I say? How should I say it? Should I act passionate? Should I act angry? And he said, just speak the truth. The truth will come out however the truth needs to come out, and the truth will stand as it needs to. And ever since then, it's been really, really powerful and really impactful for myself. And whether I was doing the TV show or speaking to students and trying to organize some students, or even doing spoken word or performances or anything, and it's really been helpful right there.
Wow, I don't remember saying that. And, often people come back and say, "Hey, you said something to me, and it stuck with me." So I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So you have a very successful enterprise going now.
Thank you.
You're a nonprofit,
Yeah, 501c3.
and tell me about what you're doing now.
Well, we started a long time back called, in 2006, called Chance for Hope. And then up in March '09, and that was where, pretty much just going around and helping however we could. We had a focal point, we're moving towards like, back then working on, I hate the term homelessness, but because it's people without homes, not, and so many times people label themselves, and it causes just such stagnation in their development. But we were working on any way we could help, whatever we could do. People would give me clothes and toys and all that stuff, and I was looking like a recluse in my apartment because it'd just be piled up, and walking, through a little aisle that I could forge from the kitchen to the bedroom to the bathroom. And then as soon as the stuff was there, I'd try to pump it back in the community. And then Vince Larson came up to me, and he's the co-founder of Aware with myself. His wife, Nancy, had the idea to use recycling to build sustainable income for other charities. And we had actually met, he was doing some work in Tijuana at a battered women's shelter and orphanage. And then, like I said, I had so much stuff that was continuously given to me. I got in contact with him and just steered towards his direction. God brought us together and end up meeting. And a couple weeks later, like, Aware was born. And he built some planks on the side of his truck and on the F-150, got a couple contracts with some restaurants, and we just started getting our hands dirty.
I remember I filmed you going around the Starbucks and a lot of other coffee shops picking up their recyclable things.
Yeah.
And so tell me now, how has that expanded? What's going on now?
It's really taken off like crazy. And it's still, the cool thing is it's still just in the grassroots stage right now. But what happened is we were doing the recycling, even with the truck, our purpose was to build sustainable income for other charities. But there's so many variables with just a truck and driving around between manpower, carrying capacity, and vehicle maintenance. We end up going and starting a recycling center. We have a recycling center in downtown San Diego behind the police station in East Village on 15th and Broadway. And it's actually, there's more people in East Village who live on the streets than like pretty much anywhere in San Diego that I'm aware of. And so we got planned right in the middle of the community, and we've been able to create some jobs. We were helping a few people off streets, some people working through addictions. Got a community board up there so people can, you bring your recycling to us. We weigh it out, we give you money for it, and then the money we would get for the proceeds, once we start hitting the bottom line, is going to go back into sponsoring other local and global charities.
I see. Well, that's quite an accomplishment.
Thank you very much. It's like I honestly I want to take credit for it, but it's just God, and God used me and Vince and his family and everybody helping us out. Like, it's just all them.
So,
It's
how many jobs have you created with this
around
program?
eight.
Oh, no, how many?
Eight?
8 jobs.
Eight
Okay.
jobs, yeah. If you include the part-time, that's about eight. It could be considered a little more. It depends on how you look at it. It could be considered about 8 to 12, I'd say,
Right, right.
like that. We helped a few people out of off of living on the streets. Unfortunately, two of them people I can't name names or nothing on TV, but they were doing great. And just even like actually a couple days ago, one of them fell off again, and hopefully be back because like when he's clean and sober, it's like I mean just one of the kindest people you ever meet in your life. Just like I mean, just such warmth for like everybody around him and such consideration and I mean helping people who are living on the streets and like I'd see him help him. He wouldn't even tell me, "Oh, I'm going to help him." He'd just go help him, and I'd see him doing these different things, or someone else would come back and tell me about it. And so he's kind of going through some growing pains right now.
So, do you have partnerships with treatment providers?
We just started partnering with the Lado Ministry. We had done some fundraising activities and recycling programs for Sleepless in San Diego Rescue Mission. We built a food program for through the rescue mission for Leon's Place and the Harvey Mandrell part over there. Many years ago, actually, where it was people working through some issues of their own, and they were able to go and help. Not only are they helping feed their own household, but they're helping like lots of other charities at the same time. And actually, I want to get about 4 more of those programs going within the next 2 months.
How about Veterans Village and Second Chance?
I've just heard of Veterans Village recently, and I haven't heard much about Second Chance. Like, I'd definitely be open to it though, because everybody out here seemed like they got the purpose to help people, and instead of competing against each other for this grant or that recognition, it's about coming together and like you talked about a long time ago when you were forming the coalition. It's about standing as one because we're all working for the same common purpose. It's not just one person that's going to solve it.
Well, they've been on this show. Second Chance has been here. The Trinity House is also another great organization that may be, useful for you to build relationships with. But it sounds like you're developing synergy and that you're developing relationships between nonprofits. You're taking the recycling material that homeless people have and giving money, getting
Anybody
money.
actually, but yeah,
Anybody, okay, sure,
yeah.
anybody. And then using the proceeds from the profit that you get from collecting the recyclables and then turning that back around into programs to help people with addiction and homelessness. Is this correct?
Yeah. We run a that's some of the stuff. We run a Big Brother Big Sister program for the last like 3 years. Started off with like about 6 kids exposed to it, and then end up falling back because of just money and time. And we've been working with one kid right now for last. I mean, he's been sticking with the program for so long. The other ones had people who kind of came into their lives and took them under their wing, but this one had no one really for a while, and so we've been still sticking with him on that. I that's been part of it, just getting the programs in place. One of the programs I really want to get rolling on. We just started talking with Lincoln High School in Phoenix, America a while back, and that's going into the neighborhoods. This is actually something I'm very passionate about. Is where we'll go into the neighborhoods, like somewhere in our economically disadvantaged part of our community, take a specific block, get a community leader on that block, a recycling program. We collect the recycling, we bring it to our center, get the money, bring all the money back to them free of charge, and use that money to put on free breakfasts and dinners for the kids every day in the neighborhood. And I'm hoping from that it'll spawn like literacy programs, field trips, mentorships, more Big Brother Big Sister programs like scholarships, community gardens. Like that's going to happen before the end of the year. We're going to begin some of that stuff rolling.
So you need to make sure you put a profile up on the Community Coalition so that people will know how to find you and get involved. You said mentorship programs and of course donations. Have you been able to get any grant money at all to help you out?
We had an anonymous grant to actually get the center up and running, which was a blessing right there. And without that, it wouldn't have happened because the truck wasn't able to get us to where we need to go. Because you take it 2 steps back, but then it'd break down, and you'd have to spend $1,000 fixing it, and that was your money for opening a new location. So thank God for that grant coming in right there. That's actually got us the opportunity to do everything we're doing right now in the community.
See.
Um, that's about it right now for grant wise. We are hoping to get another grant where we put our uh, feather in the cap and hoping to get something coming at the end of the year here for a nice size grant, but just got to see what's in the plans.
I understand. So you've made a great deal of progress, and how many years have you been doing this?
The recycling, we cut the ribbon to the recycling center in October.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty new for all the jobs and everything we've created.
Mm-hmm.
For the charity itself, it started back in March or not, July '06,
Okay,
and then the recycling part was March '09.
got it. So you
Yes.
have pretty much a 6-year track record of providing this kind of service.
Never even thought of it like that, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's kind of cool
Okay.
to even think about. I
Well, definitely. So I'm proud of that uh, to have been affiliated with you for a number of these years and moving forward.
Thanks, Walter.
So what do you want to see happen in the future, and how can the public assist you in accomplishing your mission?
A lot of different ways they could. Like bring the recycling to us is a big thing right there. Just for obvious beginning standard answers. Bring the recycling to us. Aluminum cans, glass, plastic. Start taking copper and brass as well, and other type of scrap aluminum here real soon. Donations obviously, but what I'm really going to need help with is getting people to volunteer their time. And with these neighborhood recycling programs, they're only going to run because the neighborhood wants them to run. And what I envision is this going block by block all over the world. But, you know, no matter how passionate I am about it or how passionate you or Vince or whoever is about it, we can't be all over the world at the same time. We gotta grow autonomous communities. And by that I mean like self-sustaining communities that can provide for themselves and take care of each other and look out for each other.
So that seems to be a recurrent theme now with shows that are coming out for us, and that's this term of sustainability.
Mm.
And so there are a number of organizations that appear to be working on this on different levels. We have people that are practicing organic gardening.
Mm.
You're into the recycling part of this. There's solar power people that are working to develop energy self-sufficiency and those kinds of things. So, do you have a plan, or have you thought about working in conjunction
Yeah,
with some of these other entities?
definitely. I've reached out to a couple other ones right now. People's Produce, I'm hoping to have further conversations with. We've only just kind of been very, I'll talk to you, and, kind of touching base with each other. But a lot of places like ARSO, the African Revolutionary Student Organization at Lincoln High School, the Feed America, the food banks, anybody else we can get on board. Like the gardens is something I'm very passionate about. And we have a community garden at the recycling center. And actually, what is the Lighthouse is a place with, it's a lot of young adults with special needs. And one of the people counseling them came over today. And they're like, oh, okay, we're supposed to be here to volunteer. And so they went to volunteer in the garden. And it was really beautiful to watch, like, because it was very therapeutic, I think, for them, and they really seemed to enjoy it. You get, tilling up the dirt, irrigating the dirt, getting their hands dirty, watering it, and just being there with it, with the plants, with something life-like that they're taking care of there. It really seemed to have a positive impact, and that's something I want to see happening, like I said, all over the planet. Rooftop gardens, vertical gardens, box gardens, rural gardens, whatever we can do. Farmers are very underappreciated, I'd say, to say the least, in the United States. Underappreciated and oppressed in many manners when tax dollars pay them to not grow crops so you can control the price of the market.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, we have people out here starving, and we have more homes that are vacant than we have homeless people,
and that's sick. By several million, from what I've heard statistics on.
and people are losing their homes and getting their homes taken away from them, and the poisons that we're ingesting through our foods, which is again why we've been focusing a lot on organic gardening. And so it seems like there's a there's a surge in terms of people becoming more aware of recycling and eating organic food and things of that nature. So it seems like you're in the right place at the right time right now.
I appreciate it. Honestly, I was just put here. Like I didn't know like the path, to be honest with you, when I first started in 2006. I just knew I wanted to help on some way. And I think myself, like many other people, was very frustrated and fed up with the political system, with the financial system. And I just knew I wanted to help because I saw the results of an incompetent and parasitic system in place right there. And so that can only, that can only sustain for so long before either a violent revolution or a peaceful revolution comes in place. And then you have to ask yourself the question, which side do you want to be on? And violence spawns violence. Like I think what Mahatma Gandhi said, violence spawns violence. Only, no, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. What did he say? Hate breeds hate. Only light can drive out darkness. That's a horrible paraphrase of him right now. But so that's what we wanted to do, is just go out there and help however we could. And that's what I did, is I just started putting one foot in front of the other, and eventually it led me to here.
You mentioned incompetent and parasitic acts in the financial system. Tell me more about that.
Ah, man. How much time we got right here?
You're all right.
All right. Well, like, I mean, depends on how far down the rabbit hole people want to dive. My personal feeling is like the financial system is a way to control people because it's just paper money. Like, money only exists due to the faith we give it. And so money also in itself, though, is neither evil or good. It depends on the hearts of the people using it. That being said, for a long time I was very fed up with like the Federal Reserve, the IMF, the WTOs, where they're not like, to even say a loan shark is more like, I think, what was the economic hitman would be more like, where they're using this fictitious currency that we've accepted is a representative value upon our labor, and we've allowed that to control our lives, control how we interact with one another. We've allowed that to represent natural resources. And so now, because of this, we're acting on a scarcity model when we live in a world of abundance. It's just a conscious shift.
I see. So, a scarcity model, and so one of the things that is of interest to me is the fact that perhaps labor in exchange for money is an obsolete concept. It appears as though there's not enough jobs because automation has replaced most of the jobs that used to be performed by human beings now. I mean, you put your credit card into a robot and gas gets dispensed at the gas station. There used to be a person in the elevator when you took the elevator. Now you push a button on a robot and the elevator takes you up to the 5th or 8th floor, wherever you're going. There used to be a teller, and on Friday nights everybody would be running trying to get to the bank to put their money in the bank or get their money out of the bank. Now you put your card into a robot and it dispenses money.
Well put on that.
And so I don't think these jobs that have gone away are going to come back. We have robots building cars now. We have robots making the pizza dough for your pizza that comes from Pizza Hut. Robots make that.
Yeah.
The pickles, the things that are in jars, the things that are in cans, these things are all being made by robots.
Some things are efficient, like that. And for me, I was very anti-technology for a long time, to be honest with you, just because I wanted to see that old school way of interacting. But my friend Tony, he had told me once, like, there's no sense of creating a job just because someone busy work. Otherwise we can have the entire world with jobs painting rocks. But at the same time, like, I could see the value of increased efficiency when it means it provides for everybody. But when it's out there, like it's talked about, like, where it doesn't become a fair representative of someone's labor. I also see new industries being created coming up here.
Right. Like what?
Like, once we get this whole poverty thing solved, my personal feeling within the next, this should be done overnight, but I really see this thing being done and out of the human existence within the next 25 years. No child going hungry, no child being unsheltered or uneducated unless it's their choice. I'd like to see us work towards the space industry in the future, and meaning like if we get to this place where we've taken care of our planet, where we're actually sustaining and acting and living organically with one another, then we can start expanding outwards. And I'd love for the space industry to be something of expedition and exploration, not conquest. And I mean, that's an infinite category of jobs right there. And that's the sustainability model, something with like the charity as well. What we're trying to do is, because I want this all over the world within the next 5 years. And one thing I know is, we're in California. California has a recycling program. So part of that money is subsidized by the state in order to operate one of these. So what we're looking to do is open about 3-4 more recycling centers locally in San Diego, create a bunch more jobs in the community, and then move in towards like manufacturing and processing of the material. And then between that, the truck driving, we're actually taking bottles with different aesthetic, pleasing aesthetics to the eye, and we're cutting them, turning them into vases, drinking glasses, candles, light fixtures, things like that. But once that model is ready, I want to plant that all over the world, because then it's self-sustaining. You're collecting the material, you're processing the material, and you're manufacturing the material. And so then that's something that can go to, Ecuador. It's something that can be planted over in Uganda. It's something that has a lot of opportunity to go anywhere in the world and adapt to the community's needs and provide for that community's needs immediately.
Well, that's great. I mean, things like the Curitiba project could be something that you model and become more aware of it.
What is that? I'm not sure much about what that is.
Well, there's an effort right now to make San Diego a Curitiba sister city. And Curitiba is a city in South America that's a model. Los Angeles, for example, is a Curitiba model city as well. There are many around the country. But basically, they've established recycling programs that have created jobs for people in impoverished areas. And these people are now making $30,000 and $40,000 a year, sustainable wages. Their whole entire transportation system is paid for with recycling.
Very cool.
Nobody has to pay anything to ride the buses or the trains there, and they closed off the entire center part of the city to vehicles. And so the people walk in the center part of the city. The only thing that can come through there are the buses, the taxis, emergency vehicles, and delivery vehicles bringing things into the merchants. And initially, that was a big uproar because of this.
Yeah.
And now they found that the companies in that area, the businesses in the area, are more successful. And people, it's a park-like environment. When people go shopping, they can sit on benches, and they have trees, and they don't have to worry about getting run over by cars. And there are buses that run every 5 minutes. You don't have to wait long. They have platforms that meet the exit of the bus where you step right off, and it's built that way so that when the buses arrive, it's easy to exit.
Yeah.
So this is one of the movies that we were showing in our movie series with the Community Coalition movie nights, and so I'll be very happy to expose you to. There's a complete organizational structure around this movement, and that's something that I believe you need to tie into with your organization.
Yeah, as soon as I get done with the interview, I'll go research that. That sounds awesome right there. That sounds like right on board what we're trying to do.
Exactly. So what I'm saying to you is you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
I like that even better.
That there's already big organizations out here that are doing what you're describing. You just need to partner with them with your efforts so that you develop synergy.
I like that idea a lot. I definitely would love to do that. Because there's no, like you said, there's no sense of going at this from this side and while the other side is working. We're working for the same goal, taking care of each other.
Exactly.
Love to do that. Quota cheaper, you said, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And again, we will make you familiar with some of the other sustainable projects that are out here and up and running. Are you dialoguing with Jim Bell at all? He's the person that's been on our show just recently.
No, I remember a long time back he was working on some projects, but I wasn't in the position to where I was really beneficial to collaborate with him.
Okay.
Then, so I'd love to open some dialogue and see what we could do to work together.
Yeah, well, it sounds like, in terms of coalition building, that might be something that you need to revisit and look at. And so we can help you here within the community coalition to establish some more, concrete efforts in that area.
Love to.
Now,
Thank you.
we're down to our last 3 minutes. This interview went by fast. Do you have an action statement for the public? Can you deliver that in the next 30 seconds?
An action statement. Like a public message, huh? I'd say treat others as you want to be treated. If you see something wrong in the world, do something about it. Stop waiting for somebody else to go out there and hold your hand and do it for you. Stop waiting for your, whether it be your representative, on any state, federal, or local level, to do something for you. If you see garbage on the street, pick it up. If you see a child that needs to be fed, feed them. If you see a child in your neighborhood that has a single parent and you know that parent's not really providing the right care for them, and you can take them out every once in a while to a sporting activity or a museum or something, do it. Just treat others as you want to be treated in this world. We'll see heaven on earth in the blink of an eye.
So with that, we're going to have to end this interview. I want to thank you very much for joining us. Again, our focus appears to be in the current trend, focus on the environment, which is very important. This is a spaceship Earth, and we have to be considerate in terms of how we handle our waste products and our recycling efforts, as well as finding ways to assuage poverty. We continue to be focused on human rights, social justice, and the environment here within the San Diego County Community Coalition and Progress in San Diego. I want to thank you very much for joining us this evening. I'm your host, Walter Davis.